Hello and welcome to my channel, Making Crafts. Today I'm going to be making a little flip out book like we did last Saturday, and I will link to this one in the description below. And so this one I used a digital to create it, but today I wanted to challenge myself to create one similar to this but using one sheet of 12 by 12 paper, because I know not everybody prints digitals, and I love using 12 by 12 papers as well, so I like to be able to find different projects that I can use them. So in order to do this though, the measurements are going to change a bit, so I thought I would do another video showing you how to use one sheet of 12 by 12 paper to create this. And so I'm going to be using this sheet from the Garden House Romantic Collection from Stamperia. And I got this from the Rubber Buggy, and so I will link to this one in the Rubber Buggy shop. And this is my design team project for the Rubber Buggy. So in order to make this work on one sheet of paper, and since everything is directional, it's not a non-directional paper, which actually some of these pieces may be non-directional when I start cutting them up, I want to cut a certain way. So what I want to do first is I want to cut a 6 3/4 strip off the top here. So then I'm just going to cut 6 3/4 this way as well, so that I have a 6 3/4 by 6 3/4 square. After that, I want to cut some strips. So I want to cut this down to 2 3/4. So I'll be able to get one strip. Let's see if I'll be able to get another one. No, so I'm going to lay this aside though, because we're going to try to use it. And then I need to cut this strip to 4 3/4 tall. So I'm going to need 4 of these strips that measure 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. So we're just going to take this piece that we cut off the bottom at the very beginning, and we're just going to cut it out of that. So 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. I messed that one up a little. Let me take a little bit off there. So 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. So now we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 strips. We're going to hold on to this other little scrap as well because we're going to use it in our journal. So I'm going to use my punch board to create my envelope. If you don't have a punch board, you could go online and try to find a template. So the envelope size is going to be for a card that measures 3.5 by 4.5. So if you wanted to look for a template for that, or if you already had an envelope, you could go off of use an already made envelope. There's several different options that you could use to create this. And if you couldn't do an envelope, you wouldn't have to have the base of it be an envelope. You could just put a piece of paper on the back side. I think I may have punched that too soon. We shall see. So I'm not going to glue my envelope yet, just like the video before. If you've seen that one, I'm just going to fold up my envelope and decide which way I want it to show. So the envelope itself is going to be the base of our journal. If you haven't saw the other video, I'm going to be repeating some things. If you saw my other videos, some of this will be repeat. It's just going to be different measurements. So the envelope is actually the base of our journal. So what I'm going to do is, and this is going to be the cover, so I have to decide, do I want, which print on which side do I want? And I think I'm just going to do it like that with the wood grain showing. We're still not going to glue our envelope yet. Let's just work on our journal itself first. So now we're going to take the strips that we cut 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. Now for mine, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate them. I'm going to have one with the leaves showing side, and then I'm going to have the next page in my little journal be the wood grain side. And so I'm just going to rotate them that way. So you want whichever image that you want facing up in your journal, that's the one you're going to score facing up. So I am going to score this one at 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm just going to do the next one. So I want the wood grain showing on this one. So I'm just going to score it at 1/4 of an inch. And the wood grain is just the back side. I think I said that, but I want to make sure I did. And so I'm just going to rotate these front and backs. And so you do want to know before you score it, because it's going to be hard to flip it once you do that. Okay. So now we have those scored. It's pretty simple. It's time to start putting it together. And I want this as my front, so I'm going to start out with the leaves being on the front first. So what I want to do is I want to take and fold that scored 1/4 inch flap down towards the back, and then I'm just going to add some glue to it. And we're just going to attach this to the envelope. So all of these will be attaching to the back of the envelope, and that will be the base for our journal. So I want to be sure I have it right side up. If yours has a direction, be sure it's right side up. This one don't really matter as much. This paper doesn't. So then I'm just going to attach it in there. And now what I'm trying to do is make sure that I leave myself a little gap in here so that this can fold over easily and it doesn't hinder it from folding back and forth. So now the next one is going to be the wood grain. So this time I'm going to fold the flap towards the front. I did that wrong just then. I'm going to fold the flap towards the front, which is going to be the wood grain, and then I'm going to add glue to my flap, and then I'm going to attach this flap on top of the previous one that we glued down. So it's going right on top of the previous flap that we glued down into our book. You just want to line it all up straight, and we're just trying to make sure everything is centered on the base of our envelope. I'm just going to fold this over and make sure my pages are lining up straight. There we go. So now for the next page, I want to have the greenery to the top. I want to add glue to my flap only, my 1/4 inch flap. And then I want to add it down onto the envelope, the backing here. And I just want to line my pages up straight. I'm going to fold these over, make sure everything's lining up straight, and then press down. And then I'm just going to do the same thing for the next page. But this time I'm going to have the wood grain showing. So I'm just going to kind of bend this and get it ready to bend as a page. But I'm going to add the glue to the back side of the flap and then just attach it to the base here. Once again, lining everything up and making sure everything lines up straight. So what I want to do is I want to punch the edges of these pages, but before I punch the edges, I need to add some pockets. So we're going to take this leftover strip here that we had earlier, and we're going to cut it, let's see. Let's cut it at 1 3/4 of an inch tall and see how that looks. And so we're just going to attach the pocket to the back here. So I'm going to cut several of those at 1 3/4. And we'll have several little pockets here. So I'm going to go back and ink all of this once I punch it. So I'm going to use this punch on the edges here. But before I add the pockets, I do want to go ahead and ink those pockets so that they show up on the page. And I'm going to add the pockets before I punch so that when they're on the edge of these pockets will get the punch as well and get the decorative look. Oops, I'm going to figure out which side's going to be where. And let's see. And maybe I do want to cut one more, but this one's small enough though. It's just another one of the leftover scraps, so I think I'll just use this leftover scrap as one of the pockets as well. And it can just be a larger pocket. Actually, I may need to do the wood grain side. We'll have to see which one it works best with. So I do want to punch a little thumb hole out of it, so I'm just going to use my smaller punch since these are smaller pockets. And I'll have to go back and ink it because I didn't realize I wanted to do that until I had done inked it. Okay, so we're just going to add these to the back of each page, and so I'm going to rotate it so that like if this is the back side of the page, then I'm going to glue the front side to it. I'm just going to glue on 3 sides just to make a little pocket. And you can still journal it above it if you wanted to instead of sticking something in the pocket. So I'm just going to do that for each one. Just going to decide which pocket I want on it. So I did make a little mistake. When I pulled out that scrap that I thought would be okay for a pocket, I forgot to trim it down to the right width. So let's see if we can do that and even it up so that it fits there, but the thumb hole is not really off so much. So I'm going to use my scissors to trim it down and try that. Maybe I can keep it straight enough that I can fix my mistake there. Then I think I'll just trim it off the bottom. I'll have to re-ink it, but at least we saved that little piece and didn't mess it up. So I'm just going to put this one here. So the one I made on Saturday, I didn't add these pockets, I left it just for journaling. So this one we're going to add a few different things to it than the one we made last time. So now I just want to punch the edges of the pages. So it's going to be a little bit of a struggle, but I think it'll be okay. I could have added the pockets and everything before I put them in, but this is, I think it will be in just fine this way. So there is how the first one looks, and this is why I did the pockets that way, so that they would blend in just fine. So now I'm just going to go through and do all the pages, just punch the edges on all the pages. Okay, so I had to really squeeze hard to get through those pockets, but I think it's worth it to have the lacy look at the bottom as well. So I'm just going to go through and ink the whole thing now, and then we'll come back and finish decorating it or adding more things to it. So I've gone ahead and inked the whole thing up, and I did grunge these edges up a bit because I wanted to be able to see the edges like this. And this is really messing up my camera, the colors are. Let me see if I can, there we go. Maybe you can see it better. It kind of made it look orange all of a sudden. Hopefully that's not what it's doing. But yeah, so I took it, grunched that up. So now let's decorate it up. And I don't know if you remember a video several weeks ago, maybe months ago, where I created these little fairies using the Tim Holtz mini people as well as the wings from Tim Holtz, and then this was the paper from this pack. It was the windows that came in this paper pack. So I decided to use this on the front of this journal. So I'm going to also use some of these Fussy cuts because I need some purples. I'm making this for a specific journal that I am going to be working on soon, and so I know that I have some purples in that journal and blues, so I want to use some of the purples from this paper pack as well. So this is the Sparrow Hill Chalbella collection. I used this last Monday in a project. I don't remember what we created last Monday. That's pretty bad, isn't it? But I did use this in a project last week. I'll have to look it up and see what it is we did create. That's pretty bad. My memory's going. I create so many different things I totally forget. So I went ahead and cut some of these flowers out, and I just want to see which ones are going to look right. I did cut some of the pink ones as well because there's pink in the journal that I'm working on or getting ready to start working on. So I thought that she'd be really cute there on the cover. And then if we were to add some of the purple flowers around her somehow, I'm just gonna lay this out and see, because she has the little purple wings. I thought she was cute for this. And that may be all that we need for her. So let's just start gluing that down. I think I'm gonna glue it to her first, and then we'll attach it to the envelope. Let's see here. Kind of wanted it like this, and then this one maybe like that. These are some gorgeous flowers. So let's see here. Kind of went on top of that one, I do believe, and then kind of put it on top here. And if we open it up, if it's attached in a book, it's going to be hard to open that. So am I going to attach it? I got to think of how I'm going to put it in the journal, because we want to be where the pages can't open. I think that'll be fine. I think that's going to be okay. So we'll just attach it. I want to see how it looks right here on the back. We'll have to put something back there. I like that. So let's just glue that down. Just add some glue in here, I think. Then just attach her there. Then I'll add some glue right up under these flowers. And there's our cover. So I like that little cover. And then when we open it up, we need to decorate some of these pages up some, I do believe. I think I'm going to decorate the pockets by just adding some of these flowers to them. Just have to figure out which ones look best. But before I do that, before I start decorating these pockets, I forgot that we have this little piece here that was left over. I want to make a belly band for the back portion here. So I'm going to cut, I think about, let's see, about 1.5. Let's cut a 1.5 inch strip and see how that looks. See if that's going to look good on there. I think that will. And let's cut it down to 4 3/4, I do believe. Cut it just a smidgen over 4 3/4 so that it fits this. I'm going to ink it, and then I want to add some flowers to it and decorate it up before I glue it down, just so I can get an idea. I like to decorate it before I glue it down just in case I mess up on it. We don't have it already stuck down. So this is one of the flowers from this actual kit that I have cut out. So I may add it there as well. I'm not really sure yet. Let's just see, lay out some options here. And this is from the Ciao Bella pack. I like that kind of, just adding in some flowers here and there. So this one's from this kit, and then the rest are from the Ciao Bella kit. And I might just, or paper pack, maybe I should say, and maybe add that one in there. I like that. I like the whole grouping. So I'm just going to glue that down, and then I'll attach it into my little book. So I think this one was down first, so let's just add it. And then I probably will never get them like I had them, but they'll all be on there. How about that? It'll just be mixed up on there, but that's okay. I think it'll be pretty no matter what. These are some beautiful flowers. Kind of slide that one underneath the edge there. Then I'll put this one down. That'll kind of help us decide where that little bitty one needs to go. And then we'll just attach that in there. I think that's going to be cute. And I'm just going to put glue on the top and the bottom since this is a belly band. But I feel like we need something here. I'm just not sure. We need to figure out something to put there. Maybe this could go there, but will it show on the other side? We don't want it showing on the other side. I could bring it in just a little bit more. Hold it there and just kind of eyeball how that's going to look. That'll be good. So let's just add that onto this little flap. That way we cover it up some, because it kind of looks plain when you open it up and you're just looking at the back of this paper. So I had it here. That way nothing shows on the other side. And then we'll add some flowers around it just to kind of dress it up. I'm just sliding them in for now, and then we can glue them once we decide where everything's going. I like that. So let's just glue those down. Sometimes I just like to tack it down like this instead of bringing it back up, because I will never get it back like I had it. So I don't know if the lighting's letting you see, but I think that looks good. I like that. So there we have our little journal, and so we can go back and add things on these pages if we want to. I think I'm going to leave it until I put it in the journal so I can decide what I want to do. Now we have some of these little scraps left over. We could make little tags to go in the pockets. So we have all of this right here. This is all that's left over. So instead of wasting, let's just use those to make little tags for each pocket. Let me see. That's going to be a little big, so I have to cut it down. That one's perfect. So let's see. So how wide is this one? So let's cut this down to 1.5. And then we're going to cut it down to, let's see how big it is. It's 5 1/4, so let's cut it down to 2.5. We won't quite have enough tags for all of the pockets, but we will have tags for most of the pockets. And then we can always go and use more of the paper pack to make some tags and journaling cards. And I already know what journaling card I want to put in it, so let me just trim this down. So we just stick those in there. They kind of blend in, so we may have to use something different. We'll have to definitely ink them so that they show up, because if we don't, they're not going to show up on the background here. But for this spot here, I want to use one of these cards. I'm not sure which one is going to fit. It may be one of the smaller ones, maybe that one or this one, but I will cut that out later and do that, because all I'm going to do is just tear it out and slide it in there. Let's see, what else, is there anything else we need to do other than inking these and adding them to the pocket? So what I'm going to do now, one thing we forgot to do was to glue our envelope shut. So now I'm just going to glue it closed, and it will be another pocket on the back. Now we'll have to pull out a journaling card from this paper pack to put in that pocket as well. But at least we got the little book made with just one sheet of paper. So then the embellishments can come from other places. So I really love how this journal turned out, and we used up all of our 12 by 12 piece of paper except for a few little scraps. So we don't have a lot left over, and I think this is going to be a cute little addition to the journal that I'm getting ready to start. And once I add it to my journal, I don't know if I'll leave it for just journaling and pictures or if I'll go back and embellish it more. I will see once I start adding it. Sometimes I like to just make some basic little things like this, and then once you add it to your journal, you can decorate it even more to match what's in your journal. And for the back here, for a journaling card, I'll probably use one from the paper pack, but also I may use one from the paper pack that I'm creating the journal with. So we will see, so I can pull it all together. I may add some things like that. And then same thing for this little spot here. I may use a journaling card from this paper pack or from the paper pack that I'm using to create the journal. Well, I hope that this video has inspired you to give this a try. And so don't forget, I have this video showing how I created this one, which is a little bit different than how I created this one, but they're both kind of similar. So I just wanted to try something else in this fashion or in this style way of making a little journal. And so I came up with this one this time, and I'm really enjoying making these, and I think these are going to be some great additions to a journal. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.